Alrighty guys, looks a lot brighter in person. On camera it doesn't look so bright back here, but anyhow, I got the maddening part figured out. Like, why when you plug in this one wire does it short out? Well, as it turns out, voltage regulator. Voltage regulator that was in here shorted out, so I took the one out of this tractor and bolted it up in here, and everything seems to be hunky-dory. And I have all the wires figured out. This wire here is going to be my power to the coil. Pretty much the pink looking wire there, it goes to the voltage regulator. You can see it there. The light blue wire goes to the headlights, and this is the starter wire. So once I get the ballast resistor wired up in line with this thing, I can physically start it and see if everything works. If I, one second, what I tend to do is I do this with light gauge alligator clips. Why light gauge, Steve? Well, because if something does happen to short out, why is it not working now? Fuse blown? Does this work? That works. Must be the switch. Alright. Okay, the headlights did work. Well, guess I'll take my word for it. They did work before. What happened there? Alright. Next step, go direct. They do work. Why is it not getting power over there now? That's weird. No yank. Oh. You guys see my problem? The wire is right here now. Aha. Aha. Okay. So I gotta fix dumb stuff like that. Like yanking the power wire off to the headlights. Apparently I did that while I was messing with that voltage regulator. Oops. So, I'll have to fix that. Yeah, I see the terminal now. See it right there. No wire on it. Son of a beach. So, I get that figured out. And then, I know how my start switch and the on-off switch need to be wired. So, it won't take me too long and I can wire it up. In reality, well, like I said, if I had the ballast resistor wired up, I could start it now. But I'm going to make up a new wire there, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do with these extra wires. I got an extra black wire. Probably a ground to the seat pan for the two light wires, because the seat pans are not actually grounded through this because they only have the two mounting bolts in the front and they're free to pivot. So, anyhow, but that's the maddening part that would make your average guy crazy. And Steve being the grease monkey by day, half-ass thing, homeowner mechanic at night. Not too afraid, just have to figure out what it is before you permanently hook the wires up. So, okay, going for dinner. I really didn't work on these all afternoon. As you guys can see, there's something else in the shop. It's supposed to be the last day. It's nice and warm and it's not supposed to be raining. It's supposed to start raining tonight. So I got the next project dug out here, and if you go outside the doors, there is a disaster going on out there. Because I have so much stuff piled in there, both seat pans and hoods and all kinds of stuff. So, okay, going to eat some dinner. And I'll come back and do the final wiring on this thing. Fire it up and just put everything back together. The other thing is I'm going to see if it'll run off the gas in that tank. It smells like gas, so We'll run it, see what happens. It's the worst thing happens. I gotta clean the carb. Might have to clean the carb anyhow on this if I remember right. So later, gentlemen. Alrighty, guys. I think I got everything wired up. I do not have the key switch installed on the dash yet, just in case. It's a lot easier to work on if it's not in there. So see if I turn the key to the on position and we get a massive fireball. Alright. A big explosion. The F gauge isn't drawing hard. Let's see if she'll run there, shall we? Aw, man. Blow the fuse? Aw. Alright, well, we know enough power. Did it blow the fuse? The headlights. No. Okay, let me figure out what I got going on here. Apparently missed a wire or something. I'll show you, it's not always trouble free in paradise. Take two. Got a bad ground connection there. Keep on. Turn the headlights off. See that? There you go, see if it'll crank up here. I don't think it's charging. Figure that part out. I don't know why it's not charging. And I still need to clean the carb and get the choke cable so it doesn't stick, but hey, it does run. So let me figure out why this thing isn't charging and I'll get back to you guys. I don't know if it's a bad connection or what. Gotta start testing some things. So guys, I've heard a couple people have, well, I won't say a couple, at least one person has bought some of these cage nuts for in the dash, snap-in nuts. What I have found, especially on the tractor, or at least with this tractor, it has a rear mounted tank, you cannot physically get in there and really push on it with anything too hard. So what I found best to do is you can grab it with a pair of lineman's pliers like so, and then just squeeze it together and you can bend the tabs. So that way you can, it's close enough you can basically push them in if you can get one finger on it. So that's pretty handy. So it took me doing about 3 of these to figure out that works pretty well. Still just take a flathead screwdriver with light force and push them on there. So that's something. So I'm gonna mount up a hood once and just see how it goes. Yeah. So guys, put the hood on. Got the key switch and the push button in the dash. Pretty much what I'm figuring out is I'm fairly certain the stator is bad. So yeah, I guess the flywheel is gonna have to come off of this, and tomorrow I'll dig around and see if I have another stator. I kind of thought I used up my last good stator with the C10A, I think, Kohler, I think. I'll root around some, see what I can find. Might have another one over there. So, anyhow, pretty much done for the night. Shop is fumigating, and I'm gonna call it a wrap for tonight. I know it runs and physically works. It's just a matter of fixing the charging system on it, which is probably the stator or the flywheel. Just have to pull it apart and see. The thing that makes me think it's the stator is if you wiggle the wires around. I took some of the electrical tape off there. I don't know if you guys can see the shiny spot, but if you wiggle the wires around occasionally with the meter on, you get it to jump up to what it should be, you know, like 27 volts AC while it's running, something like that. So I think it's a stator or the stator wires. Just have to tear it apart and look at it. All I can do. So later, gentlemen. Well, I use that term loosely, especially around here. So later, guys. So guys, it's the next morning here, trying to figure out what I want to do. If I want to just use the metal shift plate, I mean, it looks kind of cool, or do I want to try and clean up the factory one? This is just a plastic or what have you. That's what they did on the original ones. They're plastic or fiberglass or something. This one's tore up a little bit, but actually most of that is behind the seat pan. Right here is the seat pan bolt, and it comes up across there. So I was debating about using the combination of the two. You know, I don't know. Or do I just keep this and hang it on the wall for later? Until I come up with a good way to clean the paint off and the overspray on it. So that's where I'm at. And I don't know if I said it last night or not, but it's not charging. I'm pretty sure it's a stator. I don't know, maybe it just has a broken wire or something like that. So I think I'm going to try and pull the flywheel off, see what I run into, and I'm going to go from there. Because if it's just a broken wire, I can fix that. I found this stator in the tank garage, but if I remember right, I put this one on the C10A, and then the wires started smoking, if I remember right. So it has a short to it somewhere. Thought I just saw some shiny wires down here around the clip. Thought I did. Maybe I'm crazy. Who knows? But anyhow, that's what I'm gonna do this morning. Thinking I'm gonna bolt that shift plate down like that, and just run with it and hang that one up on the wall for now. I could throw it back on this frame just to have something over top, but does it really matter? Not really. At least I don't think it does. So let me get some work done here. I'll be back with you guys. So guys, got the shroud off here. I found some things. I know when this thing was painted, the shroud was off because it's red, obviously on the inside. And second thing notably is it definitely looks like Swiss cheese inside. It's been how do I want to say? It's been re-hammer sharpened. think you guys can see all the little marks in it. That is from a hammer trying to straighten it out. Which I'll give them credit. They actually did it's a decent job. It's not terrible, but it's not great. I found something else here, which I think you guys will find kind of interesting. I was sitting down here just kind of looking at stuff. I don't know if you guys see that or not. There's a piece of flywheel screen in there. So I know they backed into something and that flywheel screen exploded and went back into here. Trick is this. Was it this flywheel? Or was it another flywheel? That's what has me thinking. So, excuse me. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through with my original plan here. We're going to pull this flywheel off and just see what there is to see. For all I know, maybe there's only 2 magnets in this flywheel working. Maybe all the magnets are stuck to the flywheel. Or maybe they're all stuck to the stator. I think you guys know what I mean. So, pull it apart, see what we got going on. I gotta go get my impact to break this loose. And I guess I'll try just popping it off with the crowbar in behind the flywheel and striking it the crank with a hammer once, just see if it happens to pop. Otherwise, I'll have to get out the big puller and pull on it once. Yep. So anyhow, here we go. See if you can find. It's pretty clean back in here, though. Nothing else. I haven't cleaned anything yet. There's a little bit here in the cooling fins, but that's not too awful much to be concerned with. I'll take a screwdriver and scrape them out, but don't look too bad considering. Well, while I'm down here, I'll get the wire brush out and wire brush some more red off while I got everything apart. I'll try and get up in here too with a hand one and see what we can do. I was debating about taking this over to the drill press and putting a wire wheel in the drill press and then just, you know, manipulating a shroud around it. I have done that before. It does work with smaller pieces, but like I said, this shroud is pretty far gone. So keep on moving here. So guys, I got the flywheel off here. While the stator looks a little bit suspect, that makes me wonder, it's probably the old style, which is only 10 or 15 amps, something like that. It's probably why them 2 legs aren't wrapped. As you can see, it's been messed up before. Then we pan down here and you go, whoa. Somebody has attempted to glue these back in place, what was left. So I'm thinking that's our problem. I have another flywheel, which I'm gonna go grab, and I guess we'll toss that on and just see what kind of AC voltage we get. And if that works, then I'll fix the botched wiring over here as best we can. Anyhow, we'll minimum put some connectors in there and put some shrink wrap over them just so they don't rub through and touch. But I think that's our problem. So there's only about there's only about half the magnets in here. They're all broke. So that means the magnetic field wouldn't be as strong, and who knows if they're in the right direction, I don't know. So I am going to go get the other flywheel I have. I'm pretty sure the magnets are good in it. Only one way to find out anyhow. And then we'll see what happens and see where we go from there. Whoa. These magnets have had a rough life, that's for sure. You guys seasick yet? So guys, I don't have another flywheel. See right there is the starter generator flywheel and generator. The flywheel I thought I had over here to where it's at. It's actually the one off the C10A that has the early style ring in it. So, the only other, I have a flywheel I could put on and try it, but the fins are all messed up on it. Is the original one off the 432. It's sitting on the shelf there. I always kept it because it figured it'd be good. I could run a motor and test it scenario. Huh. Unless I pull the flywheel off at 14 horse on the shelf, that yellow one I got running and found out it smokes. Decisions. Well, it's almost lunchtime, so I'll think about it. And I'll come back to you guys and let you know my decision. I really was not planning on running into problems like this. It happens. What are you going to do? Trying to make something as perfect as you can. I can always put it back together and change the flywheel later. Put a little bit of grease or something on the taper so it doesn't get locked down. It's just starting to rain. Later. Nice and warm too, man. It's up close 50 degrees today. Today, tomorrow. Wednesday's supposed to be good yet. Rain. Thursday's supposed to snow though. Or a chance of snow. And Friday it's supposed to be colder. So. Later, guys. So guys, I decided I was going to take this parts motor apart and use the flywheel off of it, but it's the old style stator too. And flywheel. So, SOL on that. You're saying to yourself, Steve, why don't you just change the stator? Well, thought about it. The only reason I don't do that is in order to change the stator styles, you have to change the backing plate. And when you change the backing plate, then you get into messing with the gaskets and stuff behind there and setting the end play and blah 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 blah. So SOL. Now there's a bunch of flywheels on eBay for anywhere around, like $40, $50, $60. Even a $40 one though, by the time you get it shipped and taxed and everything, you'd have $60 in it. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it back together the way it is. And I'm debating about putting this shroud on there. It's kind of like a dark, like mellow yellow instead of a, it's almost like a cat yellow is what I would call it. Trying to get a good hold of it. There we go. But it too has the same orange primer underneath. I don't know if you guys can. Camera can't quite pick up on it. There you go. It's had the same thing done to it. So I don't know. I'm debating on what to do there because I can switch the serial number tags, no problem. Just screw it back on, or actually use pop rivets. So I'm gonna need another flywheel. I have a flywheel, but it has none of the cooling fins on it, and I think I said this in the last clip. So I could put that on there and make sure the stator's good, run it, take it back off, and then put the original back on. I don't know that that's worth the effort though. So thinking that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look for a flywheel locally. I'm going to pay attention our local, what do they call it, like spring equipment auction sale comes up here March 21st, so I'll keep my eyes peeled for another anything with older Kohler K series on it, because I'm always needing parts, even though I have 3 parts motors here which have basically been stripped more or less. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. 3 minutes worth of me finding out absolutely nothing I can do. Right.